So apparently the attack at Appalachia High School was Bryan Kohberger's fault. I promise you can't make this stuff up. At least that's what some people believe. So welcome to The Point. Let's get to it.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Colt Gray is the 14-year-old boy charged with passing away 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School in Georgia. And he recently appeared in Barrow County Superior Court where he was formally told he is charged with passing 4 individuals and he's going to face those charges as an adult. This was an attack that sent shockwaves throughout the country, and let's be fair here, despite the fact he's 14, he should absolutely be tried as an adult. And if more fair coverage and an open conversation is something you prefer, subscribe to this channel and hit that like button down below. Because unlike Parkland, local law enforcement reacted quickly. Since Georgia's just built different. But the media and the internet will always do what they do. So of course they're going to dig through Colt's internet history and they found this.
And I apologize for the lack of sound here. This video have music on it, and I don't want it to be copyrighted, but links down in the description below.
And you can guess who had a reply when this type of headline started making its way around the internet. It's going to be a long road ahead. My patience is running thin. I can't keep putting up with this. On another note, if this Georgia attacker hadn't learned about BK receiving fan mail, fresh haircuts, vegan meals, and custom-tailored business suits, not to mention the fan club of girls declaring their love, he might never have committed this crime. Yet Bryan Kohberger's privileges continue to grow. Our world is full of young, angry individuals who feel ignored. Wake up, Judge. Your decisions carry real consequences across our society. And let's be fair here, who's honestly shocked at this point? But there are certain aspects of what they said that I do agree with. And I think most of y'all will agree with it as well. I think we can all agree our patience is wearing thin. And enough is enough here. That was a tragedy that should have never happened. And of course there are sick individuals out there who are going to glorify famous criminals. We see it in our music, we see it in our movies, and we see it in our stories. But to blame Bryan for this? To say he owns a portion of this blame? To literally say that what happened in Georgia is Bryan's fault? I mean, are you serious right now? This is the dumbest stuff I have ever heard. Look, I'm sorry for what happened to Kaylee. She was a victim and she didn't deserve it. That is just a fact. And on this channel, I've never attacked any of those victims. In fact, I seem to be one of the few channels out there who is looking for real legitimate justice. Because the only way we're going to get legitimate justice is through a fair trial. Now, I know I'm not the only one, and if you know of one, you can let me know down in the comments below. That's not anything that's going to bother me, and I won't delete it. But this whole world revolves around me mentality is utterly ridiculous. Because Bryan Kohberger gets a haircut, a suit, and some food, this is all his fault. Richard Allen hadn't gotten any of that, and there are people who are questioning what's going on in Delphi right now. Ethan Crumbley didn't get any of that, and there's reports floating around right now that Colt admired him. Listen, Bryan just happens to be the suspect charged with the most popular crime right now floating around on social media and the mainstream media since Chris Watts. So of course his image would be selected, since all these kids care about is what's trending now. Yes, the world is full of angry young people who are ignored, but you want to blame a judge for upholding someone's constitutional rights? That's not just nonsense, that's un-American. Now listen, this is the part of the video where if you're one of these sensitive individuals who is looking for someone to blame, you need to look away right now because I'm going to tell you who you can blame here. Now everything is alleged, no one's been charged yet, but there are reports floating around right now that say Colt's father allowed him unfettered access to that weapon. And if that's true, blame him for being an idiot. There are reports floating around right now that the FBI and local law enforcement investigated Colt and determined he simply needed help. So blame the healthcare field for not providing better avenues of access to get mental health treatment. And blame the insurance companies for not covering it. Of course kids are feeling ignored right now. Both parents are having to work multiple jobs all across this country just so they can afford to buy eggs. So why don't you blame the elected officials who thought it was a great job to just print money like it was going out of style? Why don't you blame society for destroying and demonizing the nuclear family? Heck, blame society for trying to say all churches are evil and removing God from everything. And since no one else will say it, I'll say it right now. Colt was a coward. He was raised a coward. And public schools want your sons to be cowards. So let's throw some blame at public education for not letting these boys fight a little bit. Look, these are just kids at the end of the day. They don't think logically all the time. But you morons want to expel some kid for a year and then press charges over a couple of punches. Suspend them for 3 days to a week like it used to be, and let's keep this thing moving. Letting boys be boys is all of a sudden evil. So let's blame our culture for denying them that. I'm not advocating for any type of aggression here. I'm just simply saying the world is what it is. Things happen, kids make mistakes, but we shouldn't want to press charges and ruin their future over a couple of punches. We have a ton of fingers that can be pointing in all sorts of directions in these stories, but none point to Bryan Kohberger. I'm open to being wrong, and if so, you can let me know down in the comments below, because that's how an open conversation works. But the world doesn't revolve around anyone. We're all simply on a world that's revolving. What happened in Georgia was a tragedy, and I'm thankful law enforcement responded as quick as they did, because not every single law enforcement department does that. But blaming BK isn't the answer here. Please do your own research and form your own opinion, and let me know what that opinion is down in the comments below. Keep in mind, this is a sensitive subject, so YouTube's gonna censor things. Y'all be safe now.